March Madness is here, and of course I'm talking about the first ever microphone March Madness. So then, what I used was brackethq.com, and I just grabbed 32 of the mics that I have previously featured on this channel, and I threw them into a 32-team bracket challenge. They were in no other order than my ability to think of them, but to avoid any unfairness, I'm just going to hit this randomize button right here. Let's just hit that, and you'll see everything randomized. You can hit it as many times, and there we go. I'll hit it one more time just so we can be sure of it. Now, I know there's going to be some really hard decisions here, and that first round is going to take the longest, but I assume as we get into the second, third, and fourth rounds, things are going to get easier. Also, as for my choices of mics, I tried to make sure I'm only including microphones that you can easily still buy, not ones that may have been discontinued. For example, the neat mics like the King B2. So then, what do you say? Shall we get started? Okay, and straight up first, let's just hit this one last time. Okay, so we've got that. No, I just saw that it is the first one up, and that scared the hell out of me. SM58 versus the U87 AI. That doesn't feel like a first round choice. Well, we'll see. Okay, we're starting out with NTG3 and the TLM 102. When I said there was some hard choices, this is the kind of stuff I was talking about. Now, the NTG3 is a great shotgun microphone. I featured it several times. I use it for a lot of my live streams. I also use it when I game on my gaming computer. Against the TLM 102, a phenomenal voiceover microphone. Now, I also didn't include niche microphones, but I did include microphones, shotgun microphones specifically, that can be used for multiple uses. Niche microphones wouldn't do too well in this, so I kept them out. The NTG3 is anything but a niche microphone, though. Versus the TLM 102. Oh, yeah, we've got to start this, eh? So we're going to go start tournament. Okay, it's in progress. NTG3 to TLM 102. I think I'm going to... Do I drop out a shotgun mic almost right away? I love the TLM 102 for voiceover. Is it the best voiceover microphone? No. The irony in both of these, though, is that they're both about the same price. What I will say, however, is the TLM 102 does have more use to it. And it's hard to include that because you're up against a shotgun microphone, but that TLM 102, it's just too good of a microphone to leave out here. Next up, we have the AKG P120 220 420 up against the Blue Spark. Now, I am a big fan of the Blue Spark. I really like how it sounded. This is going to be a relatively easy one for me, though, and that is because the AKG P series is one of the most versatile, cheap, and still easy to get. The Blue Spark, I've noticed, has fallen off a bit over the years. So I think I'm going to actually have to give this one to the AKG P120. Nothing against the Blue Spark. I just find that I don't know. I prefer the AKG series. From a price perspective, they're close. The Blue Spark, I think, might be a little bit cheaper than the 220. But anyways. Next up, we've got the SE 2200 versus the NT 2000. From a price to performance standard, the SE 2200 should win here. The NT 2000, however, I just did the video of that last year. Really amazing microphone. Fantastic sounding microphone. The price is where it really gets hammered down. Yeah, I think just on price alone, considering what both of them bring to the table, I think it's got to be the SE 2200. You know, but here's my problem with that decision. Since I reviewed the SE 2200, oh man, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even, I haven't taken it out. It's still in there. Actually, I don't even know if I put it in storage or not. The NT 2000 I've used several times. I got to go NT 2000. From the price perspective, yes. But even for a cheap mic, like I pull mics out of my locker all the time to use. And I can't think of a single time I've used the SC2200 for anything. So that one was tough. And the next one, oh crap. This is going to be a phenomenal first round. Crap. The RE20 or 27, I grouped those up, versus the U87 AI. And both of these are industry standards with a capital W. Whew. See, now the 20 and 27, near dear to my heart, because I've used those like pretty much throughout my whole radio career. I was using the 20 and the 27. The U87 AI it's an amazing microphone. It's just overpriced. Some might say the RE20 and 27 are, but not to the tune of several $1,000s. Ouch. I think, you know what? I think I would have to go just based on the price to performance with the RE20 and 27. Because a lot of people don't realize this, but the RE20 was initially released as an instrument and a vocal mic, like for music. And it's been used as that. It was adopted by the broadcast industry and basically took off there. The U87, however, is like just the microphone. Like you buy that and you don't need anything else. I got to go RE27 and 20. They're just such good microphones to have. This is where a lot of viewership's going to drop off, isn't it? Knocking off the U87 AI in the first round seems wrong. I think I got to do it. That hurts. That really hurts. And the next one up is just a no-brainer. And I love the Rode M2. Enjoyed the crap out of that mic. Fantastic handheld condenser. Just reviewed it. A lot of great things from that microphone. I can't believe there's not more industry penetration with that microphone. But first round, I'm sorry, Rode M2, you got put up against the ultimate shotgun microphone, the MKH416. This isn't just preference. I love the MKH416, one of my favorite mics of all time. But when you look at its track record and everything it can do, just as a voiceover microphone, and while the Rode M2 from price to performance is up there, the MKH416 also, I know it's a $999 microphone, but price to performance for what it does, there are voiceover people that use that over a U87 AI. And, you know, I mean, that alone, price to performance does actually come into play. So I'm going to have to call that one the MKH416. The Rode M2 just had a crappy roll on the first round. That's tough. Ooh. Oh, this is a good one. The E835 from Sennheiser, or the SCV7 from SE. I'm good at this, I swear. I love the E835, but you got to give props to SE for their V7. It is way more market used. I mean, it's penetrated the market way more than the Sennheiser has. And I love the Sennheiser E835. But I really can't ignore what the SCV7 does and who uses it and how much it is relied on. And while personal choice, and this is what I try to tell a lot of people, especially when it comes to handhelds, is the way the market uses it should be a good indicator about whether or not it's going to be the best microphone for you. Because you got to remember, these are all relatively cheap considering the market they're in. So handheld mics, there are large bands, really large bands that use these microphones. They're $99 mics. And to see more of the industry using the SCV7 over the E835 means that I think the SCV7 has to win. It does break my heart a little bit because I do love that E835. Oh, Lawton Audio, I'm sorry. This is LS208. This is another bad roll. First round bad roll. See, the LS208 I really liked. Okay, so I screwed up here. I thought we were talking about the LA220. I get these mixed up all the time. It's the LS208, the very mic I'm talking into. Now, I actually correct myself later on, not actually too much further along in this video. I just wanted you to know before anyone thought I was kind of talking weird about this microphone. I'm talking about the LA220. So, yeah, try to ignore this for the next little bit, but it changes nothing when it comes to my decision process. I actually revisit that as well. So sorry. It's a very balanced microphone. It's very, it's just balanced. It's the best way to put it. It's not gonna knock you off your feet, but it's also really easy to work with in post. But Dan, you pulled the SM58 and 57. I was just talking about how the industry adopts certain microphones and how that should tell you their usefulness. I'm just not even going to drag that one out. Let's just call that what it is. And wow. Oh, crap. Do I still have it on my desk? I just used the Ethos. I think I put it away. Oh, no, it's right here. It's still on the thing. Ethos, which I actually have been falling in love with. I do love the Ethos. It's not necessarily from a sound perspective. As you can tell, I'm using the LS208 for this video, which I just shot a video of the Ethos versus this. But from a price to performance standpoint, Ethos loses hand over fist. The NT1 as an all-around microphone, if you missed my video of the NT1 versus the U87AI, you need to go watch that video. It's eye-opening. It's a little deceiving, but it's eye-opening. And it should tell you everything you need to know about a $159 microphone. And again, this is another one of those where this is a rough pull for the Ethos, because the Ethos could have chewed through a lot on this list, but the NT1 is, in my mind, the NT1 is going to struggle to be beat out by a lot of microphones. This is going to be a hard decision in the coming rounds, but easily the NT1 over this. And I know that's going to make a lot of people unhappy. LA220. Whoa, what? LS208. Okay. Oh, this was the LS208. Oh my goodness. Oh, I just realized that. We're talking not the LA220, which is coming up. The SM58 knocked out the LS208. Is that right? Oh, crap. Yeah. This thing is such an amazing microphone, and I love this microphone. But you're up against the SM58. And the SM58, I'm sorry I'm going back to this, but it's the microphone to beat here. From a price to performance, just the performance of it, the market adoption rate is so high. And this, the LS208, yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Lot and Audio again getting like hammered with the first round LA220. This is what I was talking about. This was the balanced microphone. I love the LA220. It was a great microphone. It also suffers I haven't taken it out since. I've used it a couple times, to be fair. But when you walk to your mic locker and you're grabbing a microphone out to use for anything, SM7B is going to win that. That's a tough one. That is really tough. Okay, you got to get some of this energy out, man. Nexodyne. This is the Shure Nexodyne up against the Audio-Technica AT20 2020-40. And the Nexodyne's relatively new to the market. But it's also, as far as handheld microphones go, it's somewhat of a niche microphone. So this one, you look at the AT 2020, the 4040, the market adoption, Billie Eilish using one of these on her first album, and I think she still uses it. I guess it's just whenever it's available and she's singing, she just throws it on. It's got to go to the 2020 and the 4040, and I don't even think, like, especially price to performance, the Nexodyne is real expensive comparatively. So yeah, AT 2020, 4040. Ooh. NT2A versus Dynacaster. This one's actually easier than it looks on paper. I'm a big fan of the NT2A. I launched my voiceover career with it, coming out of radio. The Dynacaster, also a great microphone, really relies on those EQ switches. It does have that inline booster, which just makes it, back in the day when the SM7B was a difficult mic to drive because most preamps didn't have over 55 dB of gain, the Dynacaster was a breath of fresh air because it had that inline booster already on it. But the Dynacaster is a podcasting microphone. The NT2A is a dual microphone. And this just isn't because I love Rode. I do love Rode. But from a usefulness, price to performance, they're both the same price. The NT2A's got to win that one. Here's a matchup I didn't see happening. Aston Origin versus the BCM 104. Now, if you missed it, BCM 104 is a broadcast Neumann. It's the Neumann BCM 104, and it's that hang down version. I'll actually have a picture of it. The BCM 705 and the BCM 104. The BCM 705 is the dynamic version. It's the close talker mic, and the BCM 104 is the condenser version of it. Also really well adopted by broadcast. And then you have the Aston Origin, which when I moved into this studio, I think it was the first microphone I reviewed in this studio, and I actually really liked it. I don't have it anymore. Now I don't have my BCM 104. I think I borrowed that. But I think the best way to settle this would be, if I had the money to buy either right now, which one would I buy? It'd be the BCM 104, without a doubt. Aston Origin that's going to be a tough one to get past the second round regardless, but I think the BCM 104 is going to outclass it here. Holy crap, that's rough. Okay. Oh. C414 XLS, one of my favorite mics of all time, versus the OC16, one of my favorite mics of all time. And I have to also point out, the OC series from Austrian Audio was basically a response to the C414 series by AKG. The C414 is just so good, so reliable, and it's so versatile. It's got every polar pattern known to man. The OC16 is a great budget entry level into Austrian Audio. I didn't mix it up with the 18 and the 818 because they are technically different microphones. So by putting them together, it would have been unfair to other microphones that would be up against it, like the C414 XLS. And the price to performance thing is tough because the Austrian Audio swings way outside of its weight class. But the 414, again, it's one of those does everything microphones, and like everything. I think I'm going to go with the expensive one here. And it kind of hurts my soul to get rid of an Austrian Audio, but I do know that we've got the other couple in here. That's a rough one. Okay, so I put the XM8500 in here because I needed another microphone. No offense. And there are mics that it could have beat out. From price to performance, it's probably the most price to performance on this list because you can buy 3 of them for under $100. Man, you drew the LCT 440 though. And I'm sorry to all the Behringer fans out there. I can't imagine there's a lot of people out there that would go, nah, I would take the XM8500. So sorry, that might hurt. Oh, there's another one. Head to head first round. This feels kind of mean. Wave DX, which, okay. And I know I'm not the biggest fan of the Wave DX versus the PodMic / PodMic USB. Now I bunched in the PodMic USB because it's basically the PodMic with a USB connection. And I mean, just based on that alone, I will lean towards a pod mic. I prefer the pod mic sound over the Wave DX sound. The Wave DX sound, I find it's way too bright for me. And the pod mic, I feel, takes EQing a little bit nicer. I did a video actually comparing these and how to process these microphones. If I can find it, I'll put it up here. Basically, how to make any quote unquote bad mic sound good. And by bad mic, I mean per voice. Yeah, the pod mic's got to be. I'm sorry, Elgato fans. Going to get some hate for that. Oh, and the last one. Oh, this is mean. Oh, that's just mean. Austrian Audio OC 18818 versus the Rode Procaster. Both of these should be going into the second round. Like, both of these should be in the second round by a mile. But when it comes down to it, the Rode Procaster is a great broadcast microphone. I would even say I think this could have beat out the 20 and the 27. And that's high praise. I really like the Procaster. I love the sound of it. And I feel like it's not quite as sizzly as the the Electro Voice series. But man, the OC18 and 818, this comes down to the C414 XLS again, just microphones that do everything. The 818 just does even more because you can split the, you can record both sides of the capsule separately. Yeah, it's got to be the 818. Damn, oh man, that hurt. Oh. But that concludes round one. And I feel like this is only going to be harder as we go. So, I don't know. Do you need to get a drink? Get a drink. Let's go to round two. And we're kicking it off with the TLM 102 versus the AKG P120, 220, or 420. I didn't put the TLM 103 in this. Just noticed that. I mean, whatever. Guess I could have dropped the XM8500. TLM 102 versus the AKG P120, 220, 420. Price to performance is a big one for me. It definitely is a big one for me. And the 120, 220, and 420, they're all kind of on sale now because they're like entry level. The one thing that kind of gets me is they do have a high EIN, a high self noise. The TLM 102 is just so bloody good though. So I'm going to have to lean value here. Like, even with the TLM 102, you don't even get the shock mount with it. It doesn't come with the shock mount. You have to pay for it separately. Whereas the 120 doesn't, but the 220 and 420 does. I think I got to do it. I think I got to drop the TLM 102. Oh, that sucks. But I mean, the AKG P120, 220, 420. Yeah, I got to do it. NT2000 versus the RA2027. Again, that NT2000 is fantastic. The RE20 and 27 are also fantastic. Great case I'm making for both microphones, right? Yeah. I would probably lean more towards the 20 and the 27. That NT2000 is fantastic. But reaching into the mic lock, my dog's barking. The 20 and the 27, they do quite a bit. I'm going to have to call that. Oh, that hurts. Sorry, NT2000. Okay, here's one. SCV7, we're talking about market penetration versus the MKH416. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be surprised by this, but the SCV7 doesn't have as much market penetration as the MKH416. When you're talking about a jack of all trades, the only thing MKH416 doesn't do is music, but I'm pretty sure you probably could. The SCV7, though, I mean, it's a handheld. It's a great handheld. But the MKH416 it's just an elite microphone. Again, I would take this over a U87AI, and I'm not alone. There's a lot of people, a lot of voiceover artists that use this instead. A lot of studios as well. It's just the perfect mic in a lot of respects. Sorry, Yessie, you lose. Oh. See, now, last round I said that the SM58 and 57 it was going to be hard for them to be knocked out. So's the NT1. Oh, this should have been the final. In my mind, like if I was to have the perfect list and the two favorites, these would be the two favorites. These are your 1 and 2 by a mile. The SM58 is just, man, it's the 58, but the NT1 again. When you're looking at all-arounders, the 58, you can, well, I mean, we recorded a studio quality song with just an SM58. But, I mean, of course you can do that with an NT1. And they cost about the same amount. The NT1 is a little more expensive. But again, I point back to the NT1 versus U87AI video. Oh, no. I'm going to make some enemies here. I'm leaning NT1 because I'm trying to think if I had the money right now and I had to go buy one microphone, which one would I buy? I think I have to go NT1 here. It's so hard to choose between these two because the SM58 is like the end all be all. But if I reach behind me to my mic locker for a microphone that I need to record something in this studio, I'm taking the NT1 before the SM58. If I'm on stage, if I'm a musician, I'm on touring, it's the SM58. But from a studio perspective, that feels dirty. That just feels dirty. Okay. Anyways, let's wipe that one off. SM7B versus the AT2020 4040. This one's an easy one. It's SM7B all day. It's the microphone by a mile. This is probably a third place. You talk about SM58, the NT1, and the SM7B. They're all up there. They're all fantastic microphones. And all I thought were going to be in the finals. So, ooh. NT2A versus a BCM 104. Now, here's where being a broadcast microphone kind of bites you in the ass. I do love the BCM 104. I love the NT2A. I have an affinity for Rode products for a few reasons. One is they make good products. This is fantastic products. And Neumann's very good, but the Neumanns, and I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback on this, they're overpriced. All of them are. You pay a lot of money for that Neumann badge on the front of the microphone, and for good reason. I mean, they make phenomenal microphones, but it's that history you're paying for. And in a world where an SM58 still costs $99 or $110, whatever it is, the idea that BCM 104 is $1,000, or I think it's actually a little bit over that, maybe. I got to go NT2A. Yeah, I think the NT2A is the smart choice here. BCM 104 is also a bit of a one-trick pony. Sorry. Whoa. Oh, this is a tough one. C414 XLS versus the LCT 440. Now, the 440... The 440 is the one, it does... Yeah, okay, so here's the 440. So, ironically, this is the other part of AKG that left and started a company. And, this was the 414 answer for them. And... yeah, like the 414, its real claim to fame is the polar patterns. It obviously sounds amazing. PewDiePie's mic for a while. Remember him? Although I think he had the XL2, not the XLS. But from a cost perspective, yeah, like AKG C414 is up there with the Neumanns for cost and overpricedness, if that's a word. And the LCT 440 it's also a great microphone. So do I rely just on price to performance? Yeah, I think I have to. The price difference is so different. There's so much of a chasm there for price that I think the LCT 440, what it brings to the table, you can get most of what you need out of the LCT 440 over the C414. And I love the C414, but I also do like the 440. So some of these are brutal, man. Oh, come on. There's no way that the pod mic or the pod mic USB, no matter how much I love them, can beat out the OC18818. There's no way. Like there's no chance. Again, it comes back to usefulness, right? Pod mic's a podcasting mic. Austrian Audio OC18 and 818 you can run a studio with. This could be your replacement for the U87AI, and you wouldn't even bat an eyelash. That's not even a question. Oh. See, I thought that was probably the hardest round. The first round was pretty rough too, but man, the SM58 losing in the second round, I wouldn't have had that. Okay, so this is where things start to pick up. So don't worry. If you've been hanging out, we're getting there. AKG P120 versus 220 to 420 versus the RE20 and 27. I think this is where AKG's Cinderella run runs out. The RE20 and 27. Yeah, they're just, not only are they probably the best broadcast mic, especially from a historical perspective. They just do everything and they look great. Yeah. That was an easy one. Okay. Crap. The NT1 has been breaking hearts today. Damn it. MKH 416, one of my favorite mics, probably the favorite mic, versus the NT1. Also, one of my favorite mics. Is my favorite? It's hard to tell. I love the MKH 416 so much, but I also have to recognize that it is an expensive microphone. So from a price to performance metric, the NT1 blows the MKH 416 out of the water. I don't think there's any other metric that matters in that either. Like, there can't be. From a usefulness perspective, the NT1's going to win. You can do voiceover with it. You can do all those things with it. The MKH 416 does fall off when it comes to music. Oh, man. The NT1 is having a day. Like, the NT1 has had, like, the perfect outcome each time. Oof. They're both about the same price. SM7B, sure. And the Rode NT2A. Yeah, okay. It just has to be the SM7B. Sorry, Rode. Yeah. It's the SM7B there. And it, for so many reasons, it's just like there's this like hierarchy of mics you need if, let's say, you want to start a studio. SM58's on there. A lot of people have the U87. I would consider the NT1 to be an appropriate replacement for that. The SM7B's on that list as well. I don't think the NT2A is. The NT2A is such a good voiceover mic. It's such a good instrumentation mic. It's a tough call, but the SM7B is also right up there. That was hard. And Austrian Audio taking on the other AKG Offcast. Ooh. You know, from the price to performance thing, a lot of people are going to say the LCT 440. That just means you haven't used the OC 818. It is it's such a filled out microphone that can do everything. It's the Swiss Army knife of microphones. If there ever was one, this would be like when you talk about studio microphones. Yeah, I've said it time and time again. The Austrian Audio 818 is just one of those microphones that you don't need anything else. You can even pair it with an OC18, and it's within the tolerance to be a perfect match pair because just the way they make them. Yeah. Sorry, Lewitt. He's out. Okay, so this is where it gets mean, and this is where it gets brutal. RE20 and 27 versus the NT1. I feel like the RE20 and 27 has had a relatively easy run. Here, let's take a look. What the RE20 has taken out the U87 AI. Okay, that was not easy, but I mean, I get it. And then the NT2000, which, yeah, that's a relatively easy run. Then it took out the AKG P120. Yeah. So it's an easy one. The NT1 has obliterated everyone. And again, the NT1 is the microphone. That's the microphone that if I could say go out and buy a condenser, you just need a condenser microphone, go buy an NT1. Literally, like, go buy an NT1. They're so cheap and they're so good for what you get. Whereas the RE20, RE27, you can't say that about that. You can't just say, hey, go, yeah, you need a broadcast mic, go get an RE20. Because you can use an SM58 and still sound as good. I mean, that doesn't take away from the history of the 20 and the 27, the rich history, doesn't take away from the usefulness of it. But the NT1 just, it has so much more on that price to performance metric, which I kind of see the NT1. We'll see who it's, oh, wow. I think the NT1 might be the one, like, just looking forward here, and I can kind of see the arguments that I'm going to be making. SM7B versus the Austrian Audio OC18818. So you're looking at market penetration, the SM7B, boom, way more. Looking at price to performance, SM7B. And I know there's a lot of haters out there that do not like the sound of the SM7B. Again, it's like an empty canvas. It takes EQ and compression so well. It's such a great microphone for so many things. And then you have the Swiss Army knife of microphones, the 18 and 818. The problem that Austrian Audio runs up against here is price. Like, they're expensive bloody microphones. They're amazing, don't get me wrong. Are they overpriced? I don't know if I can call them that. There's a lot of tech in those microphones that's just amazing. Dylan, my co-host on Fridays, he has the OC18 and 818 in his studio, and he plays with them more than the U87 AI. But I think I've got to give the SM7B its due. Yeah, it's the microphone, right? Like, if you ask an AI platform to create a picture of a microphone, it's going to do one of two styles, the SM58 or the SM7B. So I'm going to have to guess, yeah, as SM7B, which leads us to the final, the NT1 versus the SM7B. We're here, guys. We made it. This is brutal, though. You know, in any other world, this could have been the SM58 versus the SM7B. This could have been the SM58 versus the NT1. I'm a little surprised the SM58 didn't make it. But I mean, I feel pretty good about my choices so far. Like, I feel like I've kept true to my word. And y'all know how much I love the SM58. Like, I don't make it, I'm not shy about that. And you know, the funny thing is also is like, if the SM58 went up against the SM7B, we'd be sitting here with the NT1 versus SM58 a conversation. Okay, so let's go through them. Usefulness. I would call them about the same. The SM7B is a great instrument mic. It's a great vocal mic. It's just an all-around, like you can use it on horns. In fact, it's great on horns because it falls off past 10K. The NT1, however, is just like, I would put money on it. If you were starting your voiceover career and you got an NT1, I don't think producers would be able to tell the difference between that and a U87AI. If you don't believe me, again, go watch that video. Because I had a lot of producers that actually failed in that test. Crap, I think I got to do it, man. I think I've got to call the NT1. $159 microphone. A $159 microphone has taken the Mic March Madness 32 mics down to one, and the NT1, which has gone through, let's see here, took out the Ethos, it took out the SM58, it took out the MKH416, the RE20, and now the SM7B. That is a Cinderella run if I ever heard it. But let's be honest here. When you look at like a microphone that, you know, is like just go buy it. The NT1 is there at $159. You can't go wrong. There's no disappointment in that purchase. You know, it's a great microphone. Man, that was right. That could have gone multiple different ways if this was a different seating. But I want to know what you guys thought of this. Let me know down below. Did I get it right? Which ones did I get wrong? And I'm sure there's going to be like tons of comments on that. But yeah, let me know. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.